Hello, I'm Keith Spera from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. Welcome to Let's Talk. My guest today is a singer, piano player, entertainer, and all-around cheeky person. She and her husband, the comic actor Harry Shearer, are one of the New Orleans creative community's most prominent couples. In 2022, she released her 13th album, Come On and Get It, a collection of sexy songs by female jazz and blues singers of the 40s and 50s. She kicks off a tour September 30th at the Toulouse Theater and will preside over her irreverent Christmas Without Tears variety show at the Orpheum Theater on December 19th. It is my pleasure to welcome Judith Owen. Judith!
A very cheeky hello. Cheeky? No, you're my first cheeky. I'm going to run with it.
I can't believe that. No one's ever referred to you as cheeky before?
No, when you wear a ring like this, you've got to be careful what you say to me, you know that.
You can cut me with that.
I know.
My goodness.
I know, I'll take cheeky. Especially in this, in particularly environment with this music. Yeah, cheeky.
A cheeky entertainer?
Well, I'm kind of like, I'm so tongue-in-cheek. My tongue is so deeply in my cheek at this point. I'm not sure it'll ever come out, but yeah, I'll take it.
Tongue-in-cheeky. Tongue-in-cheeky. That works? Excellent, excellent. First off, congratulations. I think, is this you and your hubby's 30th anniversary this year? Is that right?
No.
No? When is it?
You mean of our actual being together?
Of your
oh no, I see. I thought you meant of the Christmas show. Yes,
no.
It is. It's kind of shocking. It's extraordinary. Of our being.
30th.
Of our being. And they said it wouldn't last. I mean, I have to say, just talking about being with another control freak and an OCD person, as you know, I don't know anybody that gets anything done that isn't OCD and a type A personality. But two of us together is pretty extraordinary. But I think I keep thinking this is on. But I think the answer is that if you have somebody who is your biggest fan and is not actually doing what you do, you know, I am a musician who loves to make people laugh and has comic bones. Harry is a comedian who has great musical bones, and so there is that great overlap. And yet we are able to actually be so different from each other that we can love what each other does.
That's the
answer. And spending coexisting and spending a lot of time apart. I mean, I can't recommend that enough, but every musician...
Lots of time apart.
Yeah,
Great
every musician understands it. It's good for everybody's marriage, and I think that's what people... My favorite thing that I was reading during COVID was when people were saying things like, you know, on socials, they were saying things like, you know, I never realized how loud my husband breathes. And I just, you know, I think that's what we all got really overwhelmed by, the minutiae, the stuff that breaks you.
The cardinal sin of breathing too loud. Yes,
loudly.
Yes. At what point in the marriage did you forbid Harry from doing his Simpsons voices at the house?
He's never done the Simpsons voices at the house. No. That's not how. It's like saying, people have come up to me and said, "Oh, he must make you laugh all day." No, it's like, and then they'd say to him, you know, did she just sing in the house all? No. It's kind of like, no, that's not actually how we are. You know, I'm like washing up and picking up after the dogs. You know, let's be honest about
making supper. Right.
Well, no, I never make supper.
Okay, all right.
My cooking can kill, but Harry is the cook. But I honestly, and it has almost killed him, but I really think it's that thing that people really do believe that just kind of like slops over into your ordinary life. No, your life is your life. And my dear bass playing friend and collaborator, Leland Sklar, what a god he is, has often mentioned, you know, it's like 1 minute you're on stage, in front of sort of, you know, 80,000 people, and then you're off stage and you're cleaning your socks in the hotel, and he calls it from God to cod.
God to cod.
And I think that sums it up.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So you guys, you have a place in the French Quarter for a number of years. When did y'all actually move here? Or when did you get the place
we are
here?
full time here. And this is our American home. I've always lived in London and in America, but after Katrina, two things happened. We started doing the Christmas show because we fell in love with this city hard, in a way that I think you either get it or you don't. And when you don't, I sort of go off you really quickly. And if you don't like dogs, then it's all over. So, but people really don't get this place, or they are just like, I want to be here. So we came right after we got married, and I was sort of, my first thought was, why the effing hell don't we live here? I mean, that was my first thought. I couldn't believe it. The scene, the music, the food, the history, the people. I'm Welsh, you know, I'm not English. I always made that very clear to people.
Right.
I have, you know, I can talk for the Olympics. We know this, Keith. It'd be amazing if you speak in the next half an hour. But my...
Let's talk with Judith Owen.
Look,
it's a new show. Yes,
come on.
Yes.
You know what?
Put your name on a thing,
what a great ring that has to it. So I feel, the minute I came here, I just thought people want to talk, they're warm. There is a sense of community that I so miss, and I was looking for. Harry is the same thing. If you spent any time in LA, boy, do you yearn for community. It's a different thing altogether. So after Katrina, we just thought, that's it. This is our home now. This is where we'll be. We will raise money, but we will also be in the city and invest in the city and be a part of it because we love it so much, and it inspires me and infuses me with joy every single day that I'm here. And it's healthy to get out as well. It's like a marriage too. It is healthy, and everyone that lives here understands what I mean. It's healthy to get out and have a cleansing palate moment, and then you come back and like I just came back a few days ago and just thought, I missed the bad weather, missed the heat, obviously.
Yes.
And Thank you.
Yeah.
And I came back and it was just like, here you are, beautiful woman. And it touches me. I find it very, very emotional, very moving being here.
What's that? And y'all do, I mean, you still have a place in LA, but this, like you said, you get things here that you don't get in LA, obviously. I mean, LA, professionally, you need to have a place there for what you both do. But
we do, and Harry certainly does. But, you know, for me, I have the greatest trifecta because I never stopped living in London because that is who I am and what I am. And I need that culture too. I need the theatre, and I need classical music, and I need the culture, the humour, everything that, you know, is who I am. That's why I hang out with John Cleary so much, because the two of us just have such a fun time together.
Another
a great
gentleman from the British Isles.
Oh my gosh, the funniest man and the greatest musician. And so it's been the most beautiful way of having my toes in each place, but my foot definitely here. And then, you know, I just came back from London. It's like music, you know, style, genres. It's our language, it's our vocabulary. You can change it up, you can have different dialects, but it is the language that I communicate in and understand. And that goes as well for what feeds me as a human being as well as a musician. So I need my burst of Brit of London. I need my New Orleans. I need my warmth and going out to clubs and seeing musicians really live as musicians.
Sure.
And that's the thing.
Your foot here because it's stuck in a pothole, probably. So, you know.
It's stuck in a pothole, my friend. And I named it, and we have a birthday party for it every year. The whole look at my effing street, whatever I don't know. Am I allowed to swear?
No.
No, I thought so, which is why did you notice how I was doing the BBC?
That was very good, yes.
So,
thank you for self-editing.
It's all right. I'm used to this. I have been in the company of nuns. They call it fecking. So they put an E in so that it's all right. Nuns.
Yes, that's a
so
word.
From Ireland.
Yes, that works.
So it's a very special, you know, thing where you get to. I'm sorry, I lost the track. What was your question? I
made a comment about your foot being stuck in a pothole.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, my fucking street. That's it. Look at my fucking street.
Yes.
In a pothole, indeed. It's even. That's what I mean about what I love about this place. What I love about the people here is that, as third world as the roads get, as everything gets, it's treated like Mardi Gras itself, with humour and imagination and creativity. So the birthday party, the trolleys in the thing, the small Hummer thrown in, the naming of it. Where
you have to roll
else would that happen? You know, it's really extraordinary, and it appeals to my sense of humour. Absolutely, that's why I'm here.
What's the most Welsh thing about you at this point?
My nose. And no, I think all of this. Take the hat off, and I'm look. There she is. Look at her lounging there. It's so Welsh. That's what we do in Wales. No, we don't. My voice is my most Welsh thing. My singing voice, like my speaking voice, is, as I would say, it's this rich, throaty instrument. And I don't want to compare in any way, but You know, one man I love to death, of course, and he's Welsh, so famously Welsh, Tom Jones. If you think about Tom Jones's voice, the timbre of it, the speaking voice, what he loves, the vibe about him, that's what you're talking about. And where it comes from, I believe, is there's soul. It's a different kind of soul, but it's soul in Wales, and it comes from a minor key place. It comes from church, it comes from minor key singing, it comes from singing from this beating thing in here. And it's the difference between being in singing music in church that kind of does, oh God, that's so big, and going into something where it's absolutely making you sob.
Yeah.
Because it's so meaningful, it's so deep, you know, and that, I think, the love of language, the love of words, the love of music. It's no surprise that Wales is known for being a place that produces so many singers and people with voices. Your Richard Burtons, your Tony Hopkins, even Catherine Zeta-Jones has got that great rasp. It's a particular sound, and I think it comes from the language, it comes from the accent. It's absolutely there. And the depression.
And the depression. Well, yes. I mean, yeah.
We are a defeated race. Listen, we're poor. My family, my dad, my mum and dad got out. My father was an opera singer, very successful opera singer at Covent Garden in London. But we got out of a poor environment. You know, miners, steel workers, tin workers. These are poor people who really struggled. And music meant everything. That's another reason I'm here. That's it. That's it.
Well, yeah, and you found plenty of musical collaborators here, and they're all over the record. Come on and get it. It was interesting that you brought up Tom Jones, who, of course, does a very sexy thing. Your persona, or your attitude on this record, and you've talked about this before, is that it's almost like a male approach to kind of owning a sexiness, but from a female perspective, because you went back and did some of these songs that women were doing in the 40s and 50s, when they weren't really doing a whole lot of overtly sexual songs.
No, they weren't. They were singing about female sexuality and enjoying it at a time when nice girls were meant to be singing about romance, and they were meant to be decoration. Apart from, Ella could do anything. She could sing the songbook, but they wouldn't let Ella do these songs. Her record label made damn sure that she never did these songs. And I think where it started was with my really unusual father. This is the other Welsh, I say unusual, mother and father. Classical, but the biggest fan of jazz and blues you've ever come across, and New Orleans music. That's another reason I'm here. I heard it since I was like,
you had
a squib.
No choice. You had no choice. It was predestined.
It was predestined. I was going. And the first thing he played to me, which really is why this record came about, was Nellie Lutcher's Fine Brown Frame. Now, I heard that voice and that staccato piano playing, and that whole, he's got that whole, like, I'm bringing it. I didn't know she was singing about sex and staring at a good-looking fit man and just like, dribbling. Looking at him. I didn't know it was about that. All I knew was it was a powerful woman at the piano just serving it, bringing it. And as a 5-6-year-old girl, I was like, this is, because I was already obsessed with the piano, I was just like, oh, this is it. What's this? In curtain twitching suburbs of London where, nobody speaks to anybody, everybody's terrified. So I was just sort of like, what is this? And then came Julia Lee, the Kansas City queen of double entendre and innuendo, fabulous, and could make spinach sound sexual. And then you have Pearl Bailey, Tessa's Torch Song with the Cootie Williams Orchestra. That was, that's the big band thing that my mother was so crazy about. I heard that, I just thought, through the roof. What is this? What is going on? Why am I here? Didn't know, of course, I was an idiot. Where do I get this? Right. And everything I heard that was British jazz, sorry, but it's changed a lot. But at that time, everything I heard was just like, ho-hum. And, Nellie Lutcher had come, so many came, of course. Blossom Dearie, of course, as well, Peggy Lee, all the gals that were, like me, A-personality control freaks, who were doing it their way, non-conformists, who were going to do it their way or no way, because they came in with a sound, with a spirit that could not, and you think it's bad now? Try then.
Yeah.
Try then about being a nonconformist woman who's got a style and is going to be. Blossom Dearie, she looks like a librarian, sounds like a sex kitten, plays like a beast. Bill Evans thinks that she is it, so did Miles. And it's kind of like, you realize that these are unsung trailblazers. For women like me, for any woman that has ever wanted to stand up as a cross-dressing fiend that I am, and have always been, you know, I put a suit on. I'm a woman with, seriously, Keith, I'm a curvy woman with lots of hair, and I put a suit on, and it's sexier than any dress I could ever wear, anything I could ever do, because there is this, I know, look at her, there she is.
I mean,
well, though, the robe is pretty good.
Yes,
come on.
That is
the
good.
robe, but it's all covered.
It's all covered,
What I'm saying here is, we're in an era where taking it off is the way, all right? And that's great. If you own it and you do it with confidence, good for you. But there are other ways too of being sexy as hell, and that way happens to be keeping it on and actually having this flirt party that happens. And luckily for me, I always wanted to be an entertainer. That was the most important thing for me, was to be a great entertainer, to be powerful at the piano, to be a really powerful, strong, emotional singer, to bring my heart to everything I did. But I wanted to entertain.
Yes.
That was the thing that I really yearned for most of all. I wanted to see the audience smile and cry and everything in between. And I think that there is, I remember being a little girl and looking at my grandfather putting on his Sunday suit to go to church and thinking, oh, I love a suit. That looks so good. That looks so put together.
Right.
Why can't I?
Right.
Now, women have always been allowed to, Marlene Dietrich, think about all these women in Hollywood back in the 30s, 40s who were cross-dressing and looking fabulous.
Fabulous, yeah.
And I guess it's always been around. I got this great photograph of oh my gosh, Josephine Baker.
Josephine
got
Baker.
This incredible photograph
Yep.
of Josephine Baker in a top hat and tails. And we've all seen her with little to nothing on. Killer. What a killer that woman was. You should see this photograph. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It's the sexiest thing you've ever seen. Now, my wires could be crossed, I don't know. But what I do know is that when I'm on stage, men, women, children, dogs, I don't know, everything in between, every single, gender, person, being, if you're breathing, this music is so relatable, it's so immediate. And what these women put across, and I'm honoring them. I'm bringing that art form to the stage, because in a weird twist of fate, this record, the story of it all is about a group of women, mostly underappreciated and unsung. These women changed my life twice. First, when I was a child, and life was not easy in my home and in life, and I needed to
An escape.
Yep. And I needed to hear hope and joy.
Yep. And strength.
Strength as a woman.
Yep.
And strength.
Yeah.
And the second time, all the way back now to COVID, and I was doing okay, and then suddenly I wasn't, because I do have bad brain chemistry. Again, I don't know a musician that I like who doesn't, most
Have
people.
bad brain chemistry?
Yeah, absolutely. It just kind of comes with it. It's like musician, bad brain chemistry. Thank you. So where do I sign up? So, it's sort of, you know what I mean? It's like the emotionalism, the mood swinging, everything that comes with it. That's who we are. So
doing these songs after
this
COVID.
was the way out. So here I am in New Orleans. Here I am. I've got my producer, John Fishback. I've got my engineer, Wesley Fontenot. And now I get to finally do something with the fabulous David Torkanowski, who God knows is one of the great musical directors there is.
The keyboardist who's played with a lot of
please.
people.
Yes, because he understood what this was. And we fought like siblings over everything, but in a good way. And we still, he's the dearest man in the world, and he's so talented, it shocks me. Lex Wachowski on double bass. Of course, my longtime drummer, Pedro Segundo, who is truly so immersed in this music anyway from his work with Kansas Smitty's in Britain. Then add to that Kevin Lewis, Ricardo Pascal,
Kevin from Preservation Hall.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Jason Marsalis.
Yep. No, it's
the big band, who are extraordinary. Donald Harris Jr. It was outlandish what came from it, and it's done in the way that I always love recording, which again is so right and could only be done here. So I keep telling people, and they're like, "This sound, what's going on? It sounds like a bottle of joy." Yes,
a bottle of joy.
And I call it that. And the reason it sounds like that. And it sounds like it's something already, it sounds like it's from the 50s. I mean, it already had 40s, 50s. It has that sound. We're live in the room, we're in Esplanade, we're doing what we do. There is no silly magic or stuff that's going on. But the reason it's bottled joy and the reason it had to be made here is because, and I've been all over the world, and I can tell you right now that when you hear New Orleans players play, you can close your eyes and you know that they're smiling. Whether it be on their faces or inside, you know they're enjoying themselves. And that is something that is so often lacking in other places because it's almost done as a museum piece or by rote, or it's studied, or people forget to smile and laugh and have fun. This is the most joyful music in the world. Anyway, that's me done. That's my lecture done.
But that's what I say. I mean, you say it's songs from the 40s and 50s, and you did it recorded in the old style, but it doesn't sound dated.
No, it doesn't.
Sounds very fresh, very alive, very now. Yeah.
Thank you for that, because, and I think it's because my voice is not your typical jazz voice at all. I mean, I'm a singer-songwriter, I'm a arranger, I'm a pianist. My voice is very much its thing. I've always been singing jazz, you hear that in every single thing I do. But to actually get out from the piano and be up front and center and be animated in that way, it was a dream that I've had since I was a little girl and I first heard Nellie Lutcher, seriously. But these players capture the thing that makes the city, the city bubbles with grease. They always use the word greasy. It is greasy. The music is greasy and it's sexual, but it's meant to be because that's what jazz is. And this era of jazz, these were 2.5-minute jams. They were, they were the dance, you were meant to dance them.
Yeah.
You meant to sing along.
Yeah.
Everyone's a hook, 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 hook. The fact that they're dripping with double entendres just makes it even better and appeals to me even more. But I feel like I'm bringing a freshness to it, whilst honoring it, because I want people to know these women. But it's also it's the story of them, but it's my story wrapped around it. That's what's extraordinary. Like as I said, they've made me and helped me develop to be this person on stage, the Lady J that I've been christened.
There you go. It's a bottle of joy and a bottle of grease all together. Right there, so.
I don't want a bottle of grease, though. Don't give me the bottle of grease. Just give me the bottle of joy.
Real quick, we've only got a couple minutes left here. I want to hit on the Christmas Without Tears show.
Yeah.
You guys have been doing this now for 17 years, right?
Yeah. Since 2005, since Katrina.
Every December, it is equal parts radiant and racy. I think I said in the review of last year's show. Again, we've got 3 minutes left. In a nutshell, what is your philosophy for this variety show? Because you've got stuff that's very sweet, and you've also got stuff that's very sexy and blue. It's a blue Christmas.
It is a blue Christmas, but it's reverent and irreverent. It is the antidote to a time where I think a lot of people struggle with loneliness, with money issues, with missing family. I lost my mom right before Christmas. That's the reason I do this show. It's the reason I started doing it before we took it out to support the people of New Orleans, is because I struggle every year because I'm missing. And it will go on forever. And I think anybody who's had that experience knows what I'm talking about. The missing, the yearning. And it's that what I want to give to people. So, of course, I can't think of a better way to do it than we did last year. It's always been for New Orleans, but last year was for IPNO, was for the Innocence Project New Orleans. The greatest reason to be doing this, honestly. And supported by, Dee Dee Bridgewater and John Goodman and Brian Batt. And I mean, it was extraordinary. The list just went, and Big Frida came out, and it is a party where the audience is invited. And the idea is to You should cry, you should laugh, you should cry again, you should laugh again. This is what Christmas is, but mostly it is the antidote to the hardest time, I think, for many people, and it's doing a good thing.
It's the only Christmas show I can ever recall that featured Trixie Minx doing a burlesque act.
Trixie Minx
That's
doing
not generally what you think of at a Christmas
Trixie
show.
Minx doing hot Jewish chicks with a giant dreidel. I'm saying right now, people, that if you're not excited about this show now, I don't know when you will be. We had this great guy that once said to it, we were doing it, I think, in New York, and he came up to Harry and I afterwards and said, when my girlfriend told me that we were coming to a Christmas, show, sing-along, I told her I'd rather stab my own eyes out with forks. I love that line. I don't even know he came up with that. And now I've seen it, I'm coming every year. I'm coming every year. Now we only do it here now, so sadly he can't. But let's see what happens in the next few years. COVID shut that down, but there's no greater joy, there's no greater, to me, thrill than being at the Orpheum against the Nutcracker set. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, the Nutcracker set, yeah.
With my Gentlemen Callers, my band, the Gentlemen Callers, and a festoon of truly magnificent guests. I mean, we're about to announce some big and beautiful names, but it gets me through this season every single year. That is my Christmas, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to the city for so many things, for this, for that. Every year it feels like, oh, I'm so glad I'm here.
Well, that's awesome. It's, we're lucky to have you. I mean, you're quite a contribution to the creative community, like I said in the intro. Christmas show's a lot of fun. I wish you well with it, and I hope the record continues to do well for you. Come on and get it. Great record. So thank you so much for coming on and talking about all these things.
Thank you for having me, Keith. You've been such a supporter and champion. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. All right. Well, guys, this has been Let's Talk with Keith Spera, or Let's Talk with Judith Owen, as it were. Hope you tune in again next week, and I'll see you then.